Oh YouTube, unbeknownst to most of you, I said these exact words about 10 minutes ago because I just made the Facebook video and I'm making 2 in a row. Yeah, I've had energy drinks. I've had Asda's Blue Charge, which is basically a really cheap version of Red Bull with exactly the same ingredients in as far as I can tell, so yeah, I'll just cheap it out. Anyway, this is a quick video for Asteroids. Again, in previous videos I've explained crap upload rate, so I really need to keep the video shorter. I showed you this 2 weeks ago, and to be honest, not much has changed visually in what you can see, but every single file in this project is different now. None of them are the same, except for some parts of the renderer, but even then I've rewritten the shaders to be way more efficient, etc, etc, and oh, apparently me pressing my hotkey to start recording put an O there and made this invalid. Anyway, let me quickly show you what Vodka did. This was Vodka a few days ago. Oh, and yeah, that's also probably a result of Vodka. Print cock. Anyway, get ready for lots of noise. I need to turn my speakers off, actually. I think it'll still record the sound for you guys. Oh no, I was testing 2000 asteroids. I'm sorry, because originally when I did this, I was getting 9 frames per second. I have been getting 30 quite consistently, but that's interesting. I wonder if it's the recording software making it fluctuate like that. I think it is. Anyway, yeah, so when I'm not recording, I get 30 FPS consistently with 2000 asteroids, and I'm never going to have that many, so basically, it performs well enough, though. It could still be a lot better. I'm iterating over an unordered list quite a few times, and I really shouldn't be doing that, because it's not efficient. Anyway, let's put our asteroids back down to 5, and I'll show you the bit that Vodka was responsible for. And then if I've got time, I'll explain a tiny bit of the architecture really quick. So, whoa, that's mental. I actually have this locked to 120, so yeah, the recording software is definitely affecting this. My guess is it's definitely the rendering, it's obviously nothing else. I mean, I've got enough CPU power for the planet. Ugh. There we go. Anyway, I'm actually going to maximize this, so it's going to go a little bit pixelated, but you'll like this bit. Oh yeah, I can't hear that, but I bet all you're hearing now is... Yeah, this is called fun performance testing, because the bullet... Sorry, I forgot you can't hear. The bullets won't disappear, ever, so let's add some more. Oh look, now I've got like a laser line going through. You can have so much fun doing this, it's actually really addictive. Obviously collision is not implemented. It was on the last version, I just need to re-implement that, and I keep thinking about it. It's getting harder and harder to make things efficient with the way I'm structuring. I could code asteroids in 2 hours if I wanted. I've spent 2 weeks. It's because I'm messing around with shaders and I'm messing around with the architecture of it. I'm trying to figure out a nice way of doing component entity systems from scratch in C++, so let me just exit this madness, because obviously that's crazy. Now obviously I have tested it. I've seen how many of these I can get. It's so cool. Anyway, that's enough of the craziness, and let me just quickly, before I forget, go to my entity factory and set this back to... Where is it? Create shot. Good. I'm very... No, here we go. There we go. Back to the normal fire rate. That's a bit more respectable. Anyway, so while we're in the entity factory, let's have a look at how things work. So if I want to create an asteroid, we need 3 components. We need a position, a velocity, and a shape. That's it. That's all we need. So if I wanted to create a new object, you just add the components you need. So you can create any new object really, really quickly. Blah, blah, blah. I've actually got a separate class to handle asteroids because, of course, there are lots of types of asteroids. At the moment, only one is coded, which is why all the asteroids look the same, but it's fairly easy to fix that. So, let me change this so it's a bit more PG-13. Fudge. That shall do. So I've got all my components. So, the start of the game, we create a ship somewhere. The ship's actually a special case, so really I should look at the asteroids. Where's that? Yeah, myfactory.create asteroids. So all I do is pass in this. This is the size of the asteroid. That is something else. No, that's the X position. This is the Y position. And true. True flags it for select a random position. I don't know why that's necessary at the moment. I can't remember. It's for child asteroids. In this system, an asteroid, when it's destroyed, won't make a new asteroid. It will trigger an event, and some other system will see that event and go, oh, this asteroid was destroyed. Make a new one at that position. So that's why these parameters are needed. And the reason I'm using events is to try and keep all these systems very separate. A good example is sound. So when I create... There we go. My player system has an instance of the sound manager. And the sound manager is an observer, so it can observe another system. So if I just go into my player system, wherever it is. Also, thank you to someone on my last video commenting, reminding me I really should use references more often than pointers in a lot of these cases. I've taken it to note, it's just because I've not done C++ in so long. Anyway, yes, so we get the sound manager, and that has a queue of sounds to play, and it plays them later on somewhere in main.cpp. And we do sound subject dot add observer sound. So every time the user input says we need to fire, which is down here, so if input fire, and the input component is just literally is forward pressed, is left pressed, is right pressed, is fire pressed. And so that's just a bool. So if fire's pressed and the gun component is ready, so it's not on cooldown like before we saw we can change the cooldown of the delay between shots, then we set our flags correctly, we create the bullet, and here we do this. We create a sound event. Now this is a bit nasty, creating it here then deleting it here. I really don't like this. I would rather have created it statically, but forces were conspiring against me at the time and I still haven't decided how I want the event system to work, so this is only temporary. And to be honest, the whole thing's only temporary because I'm going to recode it yet again, but maybe not before I finish it this time. Anyway, so all I have to do is create a new event sound. I get the parent ID of the gun for some reason. Oh yes, because for my events I always pass the entity that created the event and the address of the component that created the event, and in this case the sound. So we want the shot sound. So that gets passed to our sound manager, which has an onNotify function. Let's go there. Sound manager.ccp. So okay, our event gets in here, and what happens if the case is shot, and that's the only case at the moment, then we push it onto a queue. So all the sound gets pushed onto a queue, and later in our main function we do mySound.update. So we go back to sound manager, and that's when we play all sounds in the queue if we can. Now the reason that's important is because in a similar example, what happens when asteroids or bullets need to be removed? If I remove them at one stage in one system, it may mess up the lists in another system, and generally it's not that nice. I'll be removing and adding things willy-nilly. So what I'm going to do instead is trigger an event or set a flag, I haven't decided, that will say this object needs to be removed, and the final system that gets run, even after the render system, will be check for remove object flag, whatever. Though because each of these systems has to iterate through a list, I'm tempted to recode this with my original idea, which was iterate through the unordered map once, and each set of components is going to store a bit mask of enum values. So basically that means, depending on whatever number is stored, I can instantly tell what components belong to this object. So instead of having to work it out every single time, I can just say, okay, this object's got this component, which is a lot quicker. So I'm very tempted to do that when I refactor it. There are other complexities, but that's just a very basic idea of how this works. Components are just data. So if I go to the component input, I didn't even bother with a CPP file, it's so small. We've just got this data. That's it. No functions, just that. Bar the constructor, of course. Systems operate on the data. So if a collection of components is right, it will be enacted upon by the movement system. So if my collection of components doesn't have a position, movement system won't do jack shit to it, because you can't move an object that doesn't have a position. Well, So, some physicists are probably going to point out, well, maybe... Yeah, but for this case, no. Doesn't happen. So anyway, that's just a quick thing of why I've been crazy and why this is taking so long. I've also had a very dodgy idea that I don't want to reveal yet because I'm thinking about it. The graphic style of Asteroids has actually given me an idea for something else I can make. Why do I have to compile that? I didn't change anything, did I? Strange. But I was just considering a whole game made with like old vector art style, but just with lines, basically with blur shaders and other things and various, I don't know what to say, deforms? That's not a good word. I can't think of a good word for it, never mind. Displacement shaders and all sorts of weird stuff. I've got plans, it's just no time. Literally every day after work. The last 2 weeks I've been just coding various things. This is one of them. But anyway, hopefully you're enjoying this. Thank you for watching.